Good afternoon, everybody. Namaste. I welcome you all to this
Namaskar.
online session organized by Sri Aurobindo Foundation for Indian Culture, titled as Exploring Nuances of Enhancing Early Childhood. We have with us Ms. Kadambari in shedding light on this topic. Let me give you a brief introduction about her. Kadambari's subject training was in BA Honours Economics from the prestigious St. Stephen's College of Delhi University, and then she went on to do her MSc Economics from Cardiff University, UK. Then she began her career in the social sector, then moved on to the corporate side of a manufacturing company. But since 2010, she's been following her passion and has been part of range of educational settings, including doing research in education at Sri Aurobindo Society, Puducherry, and classroom teaching at the Sri Ram School, Gurgaon. She has a 2-year-old daughter, Sanghamitra, and she believes her journey as an educator and that as a parent are intertwined. Currently, she's working on enhancing her understanding of early childhood and how it impacts the children's adult life. And that is something which she's also going to share with us in today's session. And she's also an author to several articles in reputed newspapers, magazines, largely focusing on educational thought and children's early childhood experiences. Finally, I think she calls herself as an independent educationalist. We are extremely
Thank
happy
you.
to have you with us in this show, Kadambari
Very
ji.
happy to be here. Very happy to be with you, Harshita, for this 5-part series. Looking forward to a very enthusiastic interaction and response from our viewers.
Right. Thank you so much. And I'm Harshita Krishnaviti. I'm a counseling psychologist and an assistant professor in psychology. So this session is going to be more based on an interaction rather than one person speaking. So I will be asking certain questions to Kadambari ji, and she will be sharing her thoughts with us through this session. And I request all the viewers, participants, if you have any
Absolutely.
questions anytime, please feel free to type it out in the comment section, and we will address them during the session. So, I would just like to start off the session with a small quote by the mother. She said that childhood is the symbol of the future and the hope of all the victories to come. So, this
So
really,
beautiful.
really shows us how important the entire topic is and how important for parents also to discuss about it. What do you think, Kadambari ji?
Beautiful opening thoughts. What happens in early childhood goes a long, long way. In fact, whatever we are in our adult lives is directly connected to what experiences we have had in our early childhood. So, in that sense, early childhood has to be held with that kind of reverence and divinity and importance.
Wonderful. So the first question is, there are a lot of needs of these of children during the early childhood. Could you please elaborate a little bit on what are these categories of needs of early childhood for children?
Yeah. So, actually, Harshita, what I see around me is that a lot of parents and a lot of educators, a lot of um, s- institutions, schools, preschools, primary schools, they all have this perception that they are doing a fabulous job. They are working very hard. They have taken into consideration a lot of things. They're charting out an entire learning trajectory for the child much in advance. And so they believe that they are on the job doing a great job. Yet we
Right.
see children who are mostly, many times, especially in the cities, who are dull, non-responsive, not engaging as much as a young child should be, not so playful, not forthcoming. Now, there are reasons for that. The reasons are that the parents and educators often fail to understand, like you said, what are the needs?
Hmm.
What are the needs of the children? And before understanding what the needs of a child are, it is a
Okay.
projection of the adult that what we feel is the need. But are you truly understanding what is the need of the child? And because of that, we see this gap in what the parent or educator feels is the need and what actually is the need. So like you rightly said, let's elaborate on what these needs are, So because we are focusing on early childhood, so let's clarify for our viewers that we are focusing on the age group up till age 6. However, whatever we are going to talk today has relevance and is going to be useful for children and parents of children beyond the age 6, and even many things for adults also.
Right.
So broadly speaking, the needs of the child can be characterized into areas such as physiological needs, safety needs, emotional needs, need for feeling loved and cared for, intellectual need to express and communicate, need to socialize.
Kadambari ji, your audio is not coming through. Can you just check the audio settings once?
Hear me faintly?
Yeah. Now I can hear you clearly.
Just give me a second.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was saying that these are broadly the kind of needs that the children have, in which I was saying the last one is being spiritual needs, which is mostly in the form of self-actualization, in simple words, meaning that even a child has the need to feel that they have a potential.
Right.
So broadly speaking, these are the kind of areas, yes, where the child, these are the kind of needs the child has.
Okay, wonderful. So could you just give us few examples of what can be certain ways in which actually parents can attend to these needs? Because now we've understood that there are different categories.
Right. Yes, you're right. So let's simplify it even more. So suppose when I say physiological needs. So when for a newborn, parents of a newborn, they must understand physiological need would mean uh, attending, being able to give the baby milk on time, then bathroom, toilet requirements of the child, then sufficient and sound sleep for the child. So physiological need, even for infants and toddlers and for other more grown-up children, basically will fall into food, milk, sleep, and toilet and bathroom break, even for students going to school.
Needs.
Basic biological needs, right? And then when we talk about safety needs, this could mean having a very safe bedding for a newborn where they don't bump their head on the edges, or for slightly grown-up children, toddlers maybe who are beginning to walk or crawl, the house atmosphere should be hindrance free so that they don't hit themselves here and there. So that again comes under safety needs. Now school going children, especially primary school children, preschool children, they are not, their language is not too developed to express themselves so clearly. So then the school has to also ensure that there is a safe environment where the child doesn't feel mentally threatened, that somebody is going to scold me, or a threat of physical manhandling. So all this comes under safety needs. Now, why is it important to have safety taken care of? So that the child has no fear that I will be attacked either verbally or physically, and the potential of the child can be maximized. Excellent. Then comes something like intellectual needs. Now people will think intellectual needs for little children. Yes, they do. What does intellectual need mean? Your thinking, your planning, your problem solving, your decision making, you're making an initiative. So even children had all those needs. Love and belonging. This can be expressed through words, expressions, kindness expressed through words, expressions, facial expressions, tone of voice, and bodily reaching out to children and making them feel that yes, we are there. Suppose they have genuinely fallen and gotten hurt, go to the child, be available for the child, hug them, embrace them, say a line that it will be all right, you're okay, you will be fine, let us put some medicine. So attending, this is how you express love and belonging. And then home is the first space where children feel that they belong, and then that extension has to go into the school space also, where the teacher will make them feel that okay, you belong here as well. And like I said, then need to communicate, need to socialize. So for example, in socializing, how will it start? It will start with a very close circle of people, right? It will be the family alone, few mother, and then the father, and then the grandparents, or other members of the family living within the same household. Then it slowly expands to close relatives, then expands to close friends of the family, then acquaintances of the family, and then even strangers. So they also need to be exposed to all these various spheres of the inner to the outer circle of people. So these are some of the examples or ways in which these kind of needs should be attended to.
Wonderful. These practical examples really clarify and make it very useful for the viewers as well. So now we have understood what are the needs, how do we attend to them. So what happens when adults don't really respond to these basic needs of children? What could be the consequences?
What happens is that when let's start on a positive note. So when you are attending to the needs, what happens that when we attend to the needs, the children feel loved and cared for. They feel that there is someone for us who will come to us, reach to us when we need anything. It could be an inner need, an outer physical need. It could be any kind of need, the kind of needs we have just explained. And the child starts feeling secure.
Right.
So as a consequence of meeting these needs, the consequence of meeting these needs is that you will have a child who is secure and confident. Now, I don't want to say that if some of these needs are deprived in a particular child's life, she or he will not be confident or secure. But a general view is that the tendency will be to not trust others, because when you're making the child feel that they are loved, you're also building trust, making them feel that world and the people around them are trustworthy. You can depend on them, because life is about codependence, give and take. So ideally try and not to deprive the child of the basic needs, and because it will reflect in the adulthood, and if you give them these needs in the early years, they will certainly become secure, confident adults.
Right, absolutely. So good. I mean, we are able to see both what happens if we attend to them and what happens if somebody misses out on. So so some of the children between the age group probably around 2 to 4, they start asserting themselves in this age groups. So how do parents how do they attend to these kind of behaviors from the children or even teachers?
Harshita, I missed what you said. Could you repeat your question? There was some network glitch.
Yeah, so what I said is there are children between 2 to 4 age group, and usually what happens with them, sometimes they start asserting themselves. So this is the behavior that is seen, right? Now, as a parent, as a teacher, should we allow them, or should we, what kind of a response should be made to such kind of behaviors?
First of all, this behavior is not a negative behavior. It's an age-appropriate behavior. So again, another thing which I missed out adding in the in our opening conversation is that understanding the needs of the child is one aspect, and then parents and educators also need to understand what is age appropriate behavior and age appropriate learning, so that
Right.
they don't expect too less or too much. Now, coming back to your question, in this age group, when they're around 2, they're actually transitioning from this phase of dependence to independence.
Hmm.
There is this child who is dependent for toilet, for water, for food on someone else. Now they are able to walk, they are able to express their needs, they also want to pick and eat on their own, they are also able, they are being trained for toilet as well. So you see that there's a transformation from dependence to independence. So they will
Right.
assert themselves. Asserting is age appropriate behavior and it must be allowed. Now, having said that, I do not mean that you don't correct the behavior when you feel as an educator or parent that some behavior needs to be corrected. But again, it cannot be corrected through aggressive language or aggressive bodily force. It has to be
Hmm.
corrected by explaining or role modeling mostly.
Okay.
Right. So then, yes, in this age group, I think you must allow them to assert, because they are asserting, they have a natural need to assert, natural need to make decisions and make choices. So it is good. Please allow them within the realms of safety parameters. And yes, correct them when you feel the behavior is not appropriate, gently, with a lot of kindness, and mostly by role modeling.
Right, excellent. I think role modeling is something which a lot of parents miss out on doing. They think I can teach them, but I can be something else. But
Hmm.
if they align with what they are and show what it is to be that, I think children, it is natural for children to kind of pick it up and imitate these kind of behaviors. So, moving on, in continuation with the earlier question, some children start taking a lot of initiatives by themselves and they really get reinforced by different people. And there are also certain children who do not take any kind of initiative. So, when is it, like, if we have to discuss the age appropriateness, what age do usually children begin to take initiatives by themselves?
Actually, in one form or the other, children are making initiative even in when they are newborns. They're making some initiative or the other. But you start, it becomes more and more evident at a certain age. So, like we said, at 2, they start asserting, we want this particular toy. No, we don't want this toy. I want to wear this T-shirt. Don't want to wear this T-shirt. I want to eat by myself. So those are the kind of choices and decisions they start making, and
Right.
they start asserting themselves more and more in that school going age. You know, when they're closer to 3 and they go to either a preschool or a main school, main primary school. So by age 4, they're asserting themselves quite a lot, and that is also because they're socializing and they're picking up their cues from other friends, and they're problem solving, and they go out of this comfort zone which has been their home, and then they start interacting with the larger and larger world beyond the home, the school, more children, set of teachers who may be kind, but yet it is not as comfortable as being at home. So they are struggling with the making decisions when they co-play with each other. That is also when they are struggling, that is it going to be my say or my friend's say, who calls the shots. So that's when they start figuring out that we need to assert our decisions also. So these are all building into leadership qualities as well, should not be seen in a negative light. You know, often I've heard parents say, for senior school students, that our child doesn't take initiative, our child is shy of being leading a group project, you know. And then there are certain other children who say, okay, we will be the group leader for this project or for this outing or for this holiday trip. So certainly it all is. You're a psychologist. What do you think? Isn't it connected with childhood? Tell me, Harshita, what are your views?
Yes, absolutely. I think a part of growing up is taking initiatives, but how do the parents respond to these initiatives make a big difference to whether the child will continue standing up for himself, whether the child will form positive beliefs about his own capacities and what is the self-esteem like. All of these factors completely depend on how the environment is supporting the child in continuing to make these initiatives, because all of us make mistakes, all of us end up doing
Absolutely.
well sometimes. So how are these how are the parents responding to negative aspects, how are the parents encouraging the positive aspects? So that is very important in helping the child believe, am I
Right.
good at what I do? That's predominantly what initiative, I think that is the start to taking the initiatives. Okay, so
Yeah, so you're right. You mentioned something about the environment, and something just struck me that yes, how the environment engages with the child, and then how the child engages with the environment
right,
has a direct impact on shaping of the personality of the child. So
absolutely.
there is, as parents and educators, there is no full proof that yes, we have done all these things in the childhood, and so sure short the child is going to be a certain way when they are an adult. Because as the child also steps out of the home, there are many, many more influences they will gather on the way. But as parents and educators, we need to do our job well today as early educators. And we shouldn't worry whether it will work out or not work out. It surely will be positive, and then that is also the child's life journey. But
Right.
I am quite sure that when a child has received a very engaging and stable environment, they will bounce back. Turbulences will happen.
Hmm.
Turbulences happen in my life, in your life, and in fact, turbulences are good because they test the child's capacities and they also help them grow. Turbulences are important. You can't offer a smooth path to your children. And that's when whatever they have acquired in terms of learning and skill sets, they will use it. Let them test the skills. So it's
Hmm.
okay. Parents should not fear that our children will go through turbulences and failures. It's part of life and it helps us grow, in fact.
Right. So just continuing with what you said, the fear that the parents experience. There are so many times when parents experience these mixed emotions of guilt, of fear, while, and especially in early childhood, because they themselves are in that experimenting mode with the child. They're getting
Hmm.
so many suggestions from outside. What do you think? I mean, how should these parents go about dealing with their own emotional needs? Now, okay, children, yes, they're there, but it's impacting their own emotional needs, and again, that is also impacting the child. So how can this process be handled?
It actually has to be handled at the level of the adult, because an adult who is unable to have a certain inner equilibrium will
Right.
cause ripple effects in the child's life also. So they have to attend to themselves. Even mothers, new fathers. It is a lot of change when a child comes into your life, and especially parents. They are all wishing well for their children. All parents are wishing well for their children. You know, it's
Yes.
only that they don't have access to the knowledge that what is the need of the child. Like we've spoken about, maybe viewers and parents watching us today will benefit, and it will put to rest some of their guilt and some of their anxiety, and then uh, in-depth understanding of what is age appropriate behavior. Parents don't have that knowledge. They start expecting from a 2-year-old what they're supposed to expect from a 5-year-old, and
Mm.
not expect from a 2-year-old what a 2-year-old can do also. So having access to knowledge about what children's needs are and what is age appropriate behavior in learning will put to rest a lot of anxiety our parents experience. At the same time, I believe that parents should not forget that they are individuals and their life journey is also independent, interlinked with their child, and they must also attend to themselves. If they are going through anxiety, fear, or any other kind of mental health issues or emotional issues, they should attend to it. A healthy, happy parent can only create a healthy, happy environment for a child. Otherwise, it is not that feasible, possible, or it's not going to really happen. There will always be some inner tension. Even if they are able to control themselves, the children are very perceptive. They can sense it.
Right.
And as far as there is also a guilt factor which children experience. The guilt which the children experience is when there is excessive control by the parents. Then again, coming back to parents not understanding what is age appropriate behavior. So for example, if I take an example, if a child wants to make the decision about choosing the clothes for the day, a 2-year-old, no, I want to wear the red t-shirt with the blue shorts. It's very simple. But the
Right.
parent says, then no, I think the pink frock will look better on you. Right? So it starts, the decision making, imposition of that decision making starts that early. That parents should refrain from, because what will happen is that as the child keeps growing, they will keep looking out for a particular adult in their life. At home, the parent; at school, the teacher, for validation and for confirmation that am I making the right decision or am I not making the right decisions? And then they will refrain slowly from making any decisions.
Right.
So the guilt for children is more in the form of self-doubt. And the guilt inside the parents is of, oh, are we doing a good job or not? Are we doing the best for our child or not? So guilt can be in both the parties.
Yes, absolutely. You beautifully said how they're co-creating and they're growing together as a parent and as a child is growing up. I think it is both of them are interdependent, and the more you are able to take care of yourself, I think the more you're also you can really do a good job as a parent as well. That's wonderful. And certain times there are certain children who experience certain changes in the way there are certain emotional changes that they experience. They start to feel embarrassed, they start to shy away, they start to feel very inferior, awkward. So these why do you think these kind of emotional changes occur? How do we recognize, and what can we do as a parent, as a teacher? How can they respond to these kind of changes?
I will just sum up a few things we have been already talking about and make it more relevant for the question that you've thrown at me.
Yes.
It basically boils down to reassuring the child, validating also their actions, little achievements that they do during the day, right? If they manage to, a toddler has managed to put one hand into one sleeve of a t-shirt, that's achievement for that child. Halt, observe, and recognize, validate, recognize. That sends out the signal that yes, we are watching you, we appreciate you, we love you, we care for you. Decision making, allow them to pick which one would you want. I'm not saying give unlimited choices, because then it will be very unmanageable, but give some choice to the children, right? A mother who's cooking food for the children, she cannot make 5 different kinds of, it's impractical. For dinner,
Right.
I will make Chinese also, Rajma Chawal also, this also, that also. Don't spoil the child, but ask them in the afternoon, would you like to have Rajma Chawal or Kadi Chawal? That's the choice you can give. And then you stick to that. Chalo, you said you wanted Kadi Chawal, now dinner mein there is Kadi Chawal. So you also maintain the discipline, at the same time offer the option.
Choice, yeah.
So children start feeling awkward when the adult responses, facial expressions, tone of voice, body language. Like I said, children are very perceptive. They gauge when they're doing something. They look at adults. They're looking what is the reaction. From the adult's reaction, they frame what the responses of the adult could be for future instances also.
Yeah.
And that's when it starts setting in that, oh, if I do this, this will make them feel awkward, therefore I should feel awkward. For instance, I will give another example. A child between 2 to 3 is being trained for toilet. And till the child is perfectly toilet trained, even beyond age 3, there will be situations when they're playing, it's out of their control, and they do end up doing susu in their pants and all that. Now, at that time, if the adults around are making a big hullabaloo about it, oh, see what you did. Oh, that's it. It has set in the awkwardness. They will become conscious. So it's advisable that parents and educators don't give very strong reactions, even very strong positive reactions or very strong negative reactions to children for not doing something good or doing something good, so that they are not conscious and they don't feel awkward. Now, when they start going to school, like the school going age, now they're starting to socialize. Now they are beyond the realms of their home. They're meeting other children, and the adult who is now the person in charge of reassurance is the teacher. So the teacher should be extremely alert, extremely observant, and very reassuring and caring, so that she doesn't start making the children feel that there are differences in you and another child. So the awkwardness, I've often observed, starts happening when you're in school, and teachers tend to be inclined towards children who are following instructions properly. Oh, done homework, very good, you are a good bunch. And you haven't managed to do the art and craft activity in 15 minutes. Okay. So children can sense that. And so the adult in the school is the teacher, adult at home is the parent, and both places there is the interconnectivity, and that continuity must be maintained. And if you want your children not to feel awkward, have feelings like being embarrassed, ashamed, which will have very serious consequences when they're in middle school. They will retract from participating in debates, in inter-school competitions, and anything where they have to be in the forefront, because in their early childhood itself they've been made to feel that they were something awkward or not so nice that they did.
So wonderful.
I hope I was able to explain. I spoke a little.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the first thing is to become aware of it. Like, parents also need to be very observant about how these changes are occurring and when is the child behaving differently from the usual. So that is one thing. And another thing, what you beautifully said, to sum it up, it's more of developing the dialogue with the child. So having that communication is very important, like we know in any relationship, and predominantly for a child, helping him talk about his emotions. If you start if a parent starts at an early age, the child will learn to do this throughout the life, right? And he'll not feel awkward about it. So that was something which I think you have beautifully brought about also, that communication with the child is very important for the parent as well as for teachers. In
fact, Rashita, you brought out a very critical point here, that that these kind of challenges will keep coming up because the child is growing. They will be in school, there will be arguments and fights with other children, even friends, even best friends. Some teachers will be nice, some teachers will not be nice. So yes, it's a lot of work to constantly help reassure them that, not let it impact them negatively. Influences will be there, negative experiences will be there. Nobody can sanitize the child's life of negative experiences and failures. That is something parents and educators also need to know. But what do we need to do? Just be there for them. Have that dialogue, reassure them.
Right. So, yeah, I think we've more or less come to the end of our discussion. So, to
Lovely.
maybe just touch upon few points what you have made. I think initially we have understood how there are different category of needs which parents and teachers may choose to attend to the client's physiological needs, safety needs, love needs, esteem needs, and even intellectual needs, something you've talked about. And how it makes the child so feel so secure and independent if these childs are addressed by the parents. And this is not only going to end in childhood, but these needs or the way the child has felt is going to be with the child throughout his or her own life. It kind of impacts the rest of the life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think as counts as psychologists, I think we do understand how important the childhood is for the rest of anybody's life. There's so many examples
Yes.
for that. So that is something which you have talked about, and how when children assert themselves, it is the right thing to do, and it
Yes.
has to be supported in the right way is
Yes.
another thing that you have mentioned,
Yes.
right? And how it is very important when the child takes initiative, when the child uh, needs to be supported by the teachers and the parents in the environment, so that the child learns to feel more confident about himself and starts to do many things by himself without really feeling any awkwardness or inferior feelings. And yeah, I think towards the end we also talked about how important the communication is from the parent side to establish that kind of relationship
Yes.
with the
Absolutely.
child. Yeah, I hope I kind of
Absolutely.
touched upon
You
whatever we
very
have
well,
discussed.
very well, very well, very well.
So, just before we end, maybe again, I would like to read another quote of the mother, which is very beautiful. I really like this quote. The things to be taught to a child. She talks about three things: necessity of absolute sincerity, the certitude of the final victory of truth, the possibility and the will to progress. So these are the things that the child need to be taught, as what the mother has said. And yeah, with this, I think beautiful sentence, we can really come to the end of this session. I don't see any questions from the viewers. Maybe they are just taking in the information. That is
Yes,
something
they
which
can
they
post
are.
it to us. Viewers, kindly post your questions to us and we will answer
Yes.
them for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be a follow-up every Sunday for the next 4 Sundays. We will for the next 4 Saturdays, we will continue with these talks because it's going to be a series. And I request the viewers to also visit themothersglow.in. I will also put it up in the comment section. So you can read up a little more if you feel the need to understand a little more about early childhood, prenatal education. There are many articles put up there. So you can feel free to go and read up a lot of articles from there as well. And today being World Mental Health Day, I mean, I should have said that in the introduction. However, I really wanted to say that it is a wonderful initiative, Kadambari ji, that you have taken it up, that we do these series so that a lot of parents, even children, whoever is watching, will be benefited in some sort by this program. So thank
I
you so
hope
much.
that parents and educators and anybody who's interested in early childhood, even childhood and adulthood, finds our talks useful. It's only based on my own personal experience that I have realized that how early childhood has a very, very strong correlation to how your personality is or shape is in outwardly or inwardly as an adult. And therefore I cannot stress on it enough that and help parents and educators understand that early childhood has to be seen with a lot of reverence and divinity and seriousness and kindness and love and affection.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to all the viewers. We'll see you
Thank you,
again.
viewers.